Hey guys, my name is Ezra and welcome back to another catch-up of the last week's pull list. That'll be Wednesday the 6th, I think. This is a catch-up video as I did miss out the previous weeks, as I said before, due to the long video that I made. So let's get straight on to what I've actually been reading. I was a little bit behind with Descender. I didn't pick it up. I judged it based on its looks, which I shouldn't do. I'm learning that I actually like a lot more things than I come to realise. The Descender book, it is kind of like a watercolour art style, which now I've actually come to like, which is a surprise to myself. I really didn't think I'd like a watercolour art style. Nonetheless, I thought the lack of detail would be a bit of a putting off point for me, but it's not. And you know what the funny thing is, I actually grow to admire this kind of art style. It's something unique, and I think is a bit more expressive in the way that he actually paints. I like it. Thumbs up. So let me fill you in very, very briefly in terms of where the comic starts off at and where it goes to. There are a bunch of core planets, and humanity has managed to branch out from Earth and has set up and colonized other planets. They have got to a stage whereby they have robots, so they have proper AI in them. Descender starts off with a character called Dr. Kwan, who is very brilliant at what he does, and he's a leader in his field, which I believe is robotics and AI. I think I've got that right. He's basically woken up very early on in this to a massive threat that's come to all the different colonies. A massive kind of automaton is looming over all of the planets. Now from there, something drastic and radical happens to all of the planets to do with these automatons, and from there it kind of sets off humanity's view on robots and AI and how they actually go about dealing with them. It kind of skips ahead 10 years later and we're introduced to Tim 21, who is a child robot. The comic kind of follows him and how he goes about surviving in a far-off mining colony where you kind of feel sorry for him. He does kind of have this human element that you wouldn't expect with robots. I really like it too, the film AI, artificial intelligence. That's exactly what I think of when I think of this comic. I've really enjoyed this so far, honestly. Art style, fantastic. Storyline is great. You really have some emotional connection to a robot, which you don't think you would. To do that, I think they've done a really good job, and it's quite hard to do, I think, especially in comics, so congratulations. So this is by Jeff Lemire and art by Dustin Nguyen. I really apologise if I've got that wrong. That's been Descender number 1. Next we have something that I heard about. I knew, again, it's a comic that I knew nothing about. I looked at the cover and I thought, okay, I'll go with it. I think this is more of a superhero comic, and this is by Valiant Comics, by the way. So Dead Drop looks at a superhero who I think's name is Arik. I'm not sure if that's his alter ego name. There's kind of a vial in this that someone has captured, and it's kind of like a free runner running through the streets trying to escape. This whole comic purely goes through this chase. It's quite long, and there are sections of it that try to explain this virus or where it's coming from, but it's pretty much one whole action scene. And the art style is okay. It's not my favourite kind of. It's more penciled, I feel. I also don't like the ads that pop up halfway through. That's a bit of a pain for me, and it totally takes you out of the moment. Prime example, don't do it. But in saying it, I kind of enjoyed it. It's kind of one of my guilty pleasures, I think, because I don't like superhero stuff. I'm not really a fan. I mean, I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong. I'll probably pick up the second issue. It's nothing fantastic. I don't know whether that's just because I'm not a fan of superhero comics or not. Still, the cover art is fantastic, so that's something to shout home about. If you've read Dead Drop or you know anything about the history of it, pop it down in the comments below. I'd love to know more and point me in the right directions, and I can always research this a bit more so that on the next issue I'm a bit more clued up for you guys. That's Dead Drop. I did kind of enjoy it. Hopefully this could be my very first superhero kind of comic that I'd enjoy. Next we have Pisces, issue number 1. Now this is by Curtis J. Weeb and Johnny Christmas. Again, didn't know a huge lot about this. I saw the cover, I thought, oh, that looks sci-fi, that I'd quite enjoy that. And then I saw the back for the second issue, and you know what? That really reminded me of Nowhere Men. If you haven't checked that out, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic graphic novel, only 1 volume. I think they had a problem, or one of the writers or the artist, one or the other, had some difficulties in his life, so they didn't progress any further, but it reminds me of that hugely, which is probably why I went for this. Pisces follows a character called Dylan, who, as far as I'm aware, is this gentleman right here. He is an astronaut. Not that you would really know it from issue 1. It kind of follows a bit of his backstory with his wife giving birth and not being in the child's life and missing the birth. Then it goes a bit sketchy in this kind of scene here, which I won't ruin too much for you, but it goes a bit sketchy and he kind of gets transported to Vietnam. I don't know if this is skipping from memory to memory, but I think that's what it's in reference to. So it's him in Vietnam going through a bit of trauma, and then right near the very end of the comic skips into space. I can be a little bit guilty of judging comic books by their first issue. I think I really do want to give it a chance. If it's gonna be like this back cover, then I really want to stick around to find out more. This, to be honest, was a little bit boring for my liking. Didn't really have any context to anything that was going on. Of course, it's issue 1, but again, no real emotional connection. It's just kind of a bit of an action scene and, you know, parents' birth that he missed. Not really too sure about this so far. I'm hoping this will get better. I really, really am, because I need something like Nowhere Men back in my life. That was Pisces, number 1. Last but not least, guys, we have Arcadia issue number 1. This is something that I was really interested in. I saw some snippets of the art style. I was kind of on the fence, but as soon as I heard about the story, it's kind of Matrix-esque in its background. On Earth, there was kind of a big outbreak of a plague or some type of disease, and most of humanity was wiped out. But in the last-ditched attempt to kind of try and save these people, they digitized their brains and uploaded them into this massive computer simulation called Arcadia. Hence there where the Matrix comparison comes into play. Now at its core, it's about the survivors on the outside maintaining the city and how they're having to cope, and a class warfare on the outside as well as a class warfare on the inside within Arcadia. So it's that real difficult situation where these people are trying to maintain this Matrix-like architecture. There are conflicts of interest. There are loved ones inside that they actually have to sometimes interact with, so it's really interesting. The actual concept of it is really cool. It's something that has a lot of depth to it already just by talking about the concept, so that was quite interesting, really. Now, I grew to like the art style in this, a bit more sketchy than I like, as you probably will know. There are already quite a few characters in this. It has already delved into their lives a bit already. The main character's name is Lee Pepper. He's one of the people known as the Meat, so the humans on the outside who actually have to maintain Arcadia. It focuses around him. At the very beginning of the comic, there is the president of the world that's left. She's actually coming into Arcadia. You can actually digitize yourself and go into Arcadia and then come back out again if you are on the outside. Now, the president has to go in there, as she has to address the issues that are occurring on the outside due to the massive energy requirement required to actually run Arcadia. So those are the main problems that are highlighted in this issue. There are also some class issues, like I said, within Arcadia itself. Now, people can't really die in Arcadia. They can do all these amazing things and get hurt and then get better again really quickly. You can do hard resets on things, which you do see in this, which is really cool. It's another really interesting aspect to the comic and to Arcadia, as it leaves lots of things open to happen, which I'm really excited to see. So that's Arcadia issue number 1. That pretty much has been my pull list for last week. Hopefully now we'll be caught up on this week as well. Thank you ever so much for watching, guys. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the social stuff. Go and check us out, and make sure to subscribe for more pull list videos where you can see more comics like these. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon again. Bye bye.